I love me some Lamar Jackson. If you guys ever play fantasy, you grab Lamar, it's lights out. You're going to win the season. But I want to start with Lamar because of something that happened to him this week. And I'm a problem solver. I like to help. It's kind of a downfall of mine. You know, the wife will be like, man, I can't believe this happened, and I want to solve the problem. But you're not supposed to try to solve it, right? You're supposed to just listen. But I have some advice for Lamar. You can't fix what you can't face. And you guys know the old media model, right? It used to be that after the game, the players and the coaches, they go to the podium and they meet the media. And then the media goes back and assembles their story, puts it in the newspaper. They're the gatekeepers, okay? The internet and social media kind of changed that, right? So now players, they can go to the podium and kind of bob and weave and duck the tough questions and hem and haw. Then they go to their social media and they can totally change the narrative. They can shape it however they want, right? So, I don't know, you have another stinky playoff game, right? As Lamar Jackson did back in January, and you can just wash that away. Whatever. Hey, here I am working out. I lost 15 pounds in the offseason, you know, and I'm doing all this fun stuff. But the reality is Lamar Jackson's got a big problem on his hands, and he's got to face that. And the new model of, hey, I can just control the narrative on social media, or I can go on my buddy's podcast, a former player, and they're going to toss me a bunch of softballs. And again, I'm changing the narrative. Folks, we are, 8 months removed from Lamar Jackson totally pooping his pants on national television against the Chiefs in a massive letdown. Again, a lot of word salad, Lamar, I get it. And then you move on to the next question. You know, look at the numbers, folks. Lamar, by the way, has the highest winning percentage of any quarterback in NFL history to never win a Super Bowl. I mean, he hasn't even got to the Super Bowl yet. Look at these numbers. He falls off a cliff in the playoffs. And I know winning in the postseason is hard. A great producer, Ryan, provided me, hey, Jay, I know Lamar's only 2-4. Peyton Manning also started his postseason career 2-4. I get it. It's hard. It's a tiny sample size. We can't crush the guy. But when the two most exciting players in the NFL, you know, without question, it's Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Those two guys are at the top of the list. You never know what Mahomes is going to do. And Lamar is breathtaking to watch him run and scramble. That being said, why is one of them stacking Super Bowls? Patrick Mahomes, 3 Super Bowls, 15-3 in the playoffs. And the other is stacking crappy performances in the postseason when it matters most. And that's Lamar Jackson, who's 2-4 in the playoffs. Folks, some of the numbers, again, people are just glossing over it because they're not going to ask the tough questions. Hey, Lamar, you have 3 fumbles lost in the postseason. That's as many touchdown rushes as you have in the playoffs. You want to look at the touchdown passes, 6, interception 6. Like, it's not great. It's downright bad. Julian Edelman did call Lamar out this week. Yeah, it's rare. You'd rarely see player-on-player crime, as they call it. You need truth tellers like me to come out and be like, Lamar, what's going on? I mean, if I had the opportunity to sit down to Lamar, you know, I'm sure there would be some, hey, remember, Jay, remember, the game plan from the first time offensive coordinator Monken, that was not great, okay? The Zay Flowers fumble at the goal line. Remember that? That was pivotal. Okay, well, we do this all the time with Lamar. We bend over backwards to defend him when the reality is he's a lot closer to a guy like James Harden or Joel Embiid. Totally, utterly dominant regular season players. And then when it's down to crunch time in the postseason, when it matters most, what happens? Crickets. Lamar has not been good in the playoffs. That's a fair criticism. And then you want to drill down and say, why? Why is Lamar so inept offensively in the postseason when it matters? I mean, the 2 wins that he's had, they were favored in both games, okay? So they should have won those. And in the losses, folks, he has never completed in those 4 playoff losses more than 58% of his passes. Now, again, you can, well, Jason, it's the Chiefs, it's Spagnuolo, he's great. I get it. Okay, fine. You know what? Win some damn games that matter. I had somebody compare, when I mentioned Harden and Embiid and Lamar, they were like, boy, those guys they're like every Netflix series I've seen. They start out amazing, and you're texting all your friends, oh, this show's amazing, incredible. And then it kind of sort of just goes nowhere, and you're like, and you maybe throw in the towel late. I mean, if I got Lamar right here on the couch, and he won't do it because he's not going to take tough questions, I'd say, Lamar, man, I'm a huge fan. What's going on in the playoffs? Let's look at this game right here. I'm going to toss the Chargers rookie year, 48% complete. We'll toss that one out. But look at the other ones. We know the defenses want to contain, you in the pocket and make you win from the pocket. Why can you win from the pocket in the regular season? And in the playoffs, is it nerves? Are the windows that much tighter? Are the game plans that incredible from them and that poor from you guys? I mean, there's no more excuses, folks. John Harbaugh's a great coach. And I Ravens fans, I don't want to sound any alarms. I came here last year and I said the Buffalo Bills windows for the Super Bowl is closed. It's done. Lamar Jackson turns 28 in January. And I looked, they lost 3 offensive linemen. I know everybody's excited. Derrick Henry. Ooh, Derrick Henry. Oh, okay, we'll see. Lost a defensive coordinator. Lost 2 other defensive coaches. Down 4 defensive starters. Folks, you got to wonder, is the Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl window closing? And with that, I want to pivot to a bit more positive story, shockingly positive, and that's Bill Belichick. I don't know if this is a hot take, warm take, but is Bill Belichick almost undervalued now from a coaching perspective? I had one of the guys in the morning meeting mention Greg Popovich. And it was like, oh, so I looked up Popovich. Popovich hasn't made the playoffs in 5 years. Hasn't won a playoff series since 2017. And yet Popovich gets like no heat. He's still employed by the Spurs. Yet Belichick, who won more than Popovich, yet Belichick, who's basically known as the greatest football coach ever, certainly the best defensive mind NFL history's ever seen, is suddenly chopped liver and nobody wants anything to do with him. And I know Colin will end up bashing Belichick for days on end. It feels a little harsh. So I went and looked at the last 4 years that Belichick had. Okay? 7-9 with Cam Newton. That was an experiment, whatever. Then they got Mac Jones. And Mac Jones got into the playoffs. They lost. They got smashed by Buffalo. 10-7, playoffs. And then the following year, 8-9. And again, not great. Obviously not Patriot standards set by Brady and Belichick. And then last year, they fell off a cliff, 4-13, total dumpster fire, and they run Belichick out of town. I get it, okay? The last 7 drafts, whatever, he's making mistakes, getting punters and guards, and just disaster after disaster. Okay, I get that. But America loves a redemption story, guys. They love it when people rise from the ashes to the top. Remember, Belichick was in Cleveland, won there. They boot him. I won't rehash the Jet story with Belichick, but he goes to New England, has Drew Bledsoe, then pivots to Brady, and then does the amazing, incredible, super impressive reinvention story. Lamar Jackson should listen closely. The Patriots, folks, kept reinventing themselves during that tenure. They would be a defensive first team. Then they're running the football team. Then they're 2 tight ends. Then they go to the slot guys. Then they got Randy Moss. Like they continually were getting creative and smart. That's how you stay on top for 2 decades, right? Shouldn't that be commended as opposed to a 4-13 horrific final coaching job and a bunch of bad drafts? Like at what point does Bill Belichick become undervalued? We went through some teams, folks. It's just a little staggering. Here are some teams that could have coaching openings next year. The Chicago Bears. If Eberflus does not get the job done and they run him out of town, you don't want to consider Bill Belichick a guy who knows a little something about winning? How about this Dallas Cowboys? I don't know that that's as attractive of a job, but Jerry Jones, hey, you haven't been to a Super Bowl in forever. Maybe get a guy who's been to more Super Bowls than anyone. Just a thought. My Jets, we'll gloss over them because I promised, my family I would not talk about the Jets a lot today. Maybe tomorrow. And then a couple spicy ones. What if the Buffalo Bills and McDermott continue to sag? I'm on record predicting they're like a 9 or 10 win team. And they run off McDermott. Bill Belichick and Josh Allen? Hello? And then, of course, there's the Philadelphia Eagles, who are maybe the spiciest fit of all. I think they're going to be great. I don't think they'll run off Sirianni. But if that job opens, you don't think Belichick would take a veteran roster and a dual-threat quarterback like Jalen Hurts? Are you kidding me? Somebody somewhere is going to get Bill Belichick. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but based on those Brady comments at the Fanatics Fan Fest, it's like, wow, it kind of made me look at Belichick in a different way. I think there's a good story here somewhere. Somebody's going to get lucky next offseason.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.